Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back in the Star Wars Vintage Collection action figure review. Today, taking a look at a figure I've been very much looking forward to for a while now. It is the Vintage Collection, the Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett Tatooine Deluxe figure. So yeah, we're starting to get Vintage Collection Deluxe figures, just like the Black Series getting Deluxe figures. And this one has been hit with the Boba Fett tax, having to pay more money to get a Boba Fett figure. Is this figure worth the price of the Deluxe? This figure is really good, and we'll get into it. It's still pretty hard to stomach the price, especially in Canada. This thing, if you're getting it from like most retail stores, you're paying over 40 bucks for this figure, which is a good chunk of change for a 3 1/4 Star Wars figure. It's like over double, which is kind of crazy. But we'll get into it. Here's the packaging though. This is one of the no plastic packaging. On the one hand, I kind of like it. It does have some really nice toy photography on the front, on the side there, and showing all the accessories and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. But for people who collect mint in package, this is kind of like kills the whole idea, because I've already opened this figure. The figure's not in here, but if you couldn't see that the tape was cut, you would have just imagine it hasn't been opened. You would never know because there's no window. So yeah, I don't know how mint and blocks collectors feel about this one, but for me it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, that's the packaging. So let's take a look at the actual figure now. So here we have Boba Fett, and this is a really cool figure. It accumulates all the new engineering and all the new stuff that they've been doing for the 3 1/4 Star Wars line into this new release for Boba Fett. And it's really nice. There's a lot of great stuff going on here. I really like this look for Boba Fett personally. And I've been itching to have a Book of Boba Fett accurate Boba Fett figure for a while, ever since watching the show. I really like the show a lot. I know some people dog on it, but I really loved it, I'm going to be honest. And yeah, really happy to have this version of Boba Fett. It's easily better than the Book of Boba Fett Deluxe from the Black Series. Yeah, it's just really good. So let's take a closer look. He has none of his extra accessories on or anything like that. This is just the straight up base figure. And yeah, it looks really good. The first thing you'll notice is that head sculpt and face print looks super good. I actually do think it looks better than the Black Series figure, I'll be honest. I think the Tamara sculpt and face print on the 3 1/4 figure, get the light in here a bit better, looks better on the Vintage Collection than the Black Series. So that's really cool. He's all healed up now. He's got his eyebrows grown back. He's still got like a couple scars there, but overall he's all healed up from the back of the tank, and it looks really good. And the armor, again, great. You've got the subtle little scuffs, but not nearly as scuffed as the original armor looked. The emblem there, very cleanly applied. Shoulder pads, got the Mandalorian Mythosaur there, looking good. The back. Belt looks pretty good. Nice gold belt buckle. And they painted the little, I don't know what those are supposed to be, canisters, bullets, whatever, there, which looks good. They got the paint apps on the gauntlet looking nice. And that continues right here. And you also have the piping here with plenty of slack, so you shouldn't really have any issues with these snapping or anything. They're made of a very soft plastic, and there's a lot of slack there, so it shouldn't be an issue. And then you've got a soft goods lower robe, or comma, I guess it's more of a comma, that is accurate to how he appears in Book of Boba Fett. Same with the pants. He's got the more normal looking black pants on, which look good, and then the yellow boots, or not yellow, sorry, reddish boots that he has going on in the show as well, with the yellow knee guards. And they actually painted the dart launchers. That's something the Black Series figure didn't do. So yeah, very good looking figure, very good looking figure. And that's just the straight up figure, no accessories. Articulation wise, he's got a good dumbbell joint in the neck, so you can move that all around, pivot up, down. Could be nice if it could go a little more up for flight poses, but not a big deal. Ball hinges of the shoulders move quite far up. They move they do get kind of hindered, but they can go quite far before they get hindered anymore. These shoulder pads are on a soft plastic, so they will get out of the way. Single hinges in the elbow, move a little bit past 90, and then swivel and hinges at the wrist. The wrist here goes up and down, and this one goes up and down as well, I do believe. I think it does. Yeah, it does. So that's good. Ball joint at the torso, which moves decently. Nothing too crazy, but it does go back a fair amount. Forward decently. rotates and pivots actually pretty good, so that's cool. The new ball joints at the hips, I'll continue to be very happy with these. These move all around and do good. Sole cut at the thigh, single hinge in the knee goes about 90, and then hinge that goes up very nicely in the ankle, down pretty nicely, and pivots. So yeah, a joy to articulate. Like I've said for other reviews of recent releases from the Vintage Collection, they've just done so well with the new articulation, and they are very fun to pose. So yeah, very good articulation as well. No real complaints there. In terms of accessories, he does come with a fair bit. This is a deluxe release, although I wouldn't say the accessories are super deluxe in my opinion. You do get his jetpack, of course, which is a new sculpt, I would like to say. I'm pretty sure it's a new sculpt. That looks pretty good. You got some nice paint apps going on, and you can actually remove the missile, and it has a little flame effect at the end of it. So that's a pretty cool little feature. It's something that the Vintage Collection Jango Fett from way back when actually had as a feature, which is kind of cool. My only real complaint with this is that you can't really do anything with it. It's like a fun little gimmick, but like you don't have any way to actually like display it on the shelf of it launching unless you like do something with maybe a wire or something like that. There's nothing. I would have preferred if they include like effect part that plugged in here and plugged in the end of this to make it look like it was actually firing out like they did with the Hot Toys figure. This is kind of unfortunately useless when you actually have it on display, but still kind of a cool feature. It does plug into the back pretty securely. This isn't going to fall off, so that looks good. Of course, he does have his helmet as well. This is painted and sculpted really nicely. No real complaints here. Unfortunately, the rangefinder doesn't move on this. I don't know why they opted to not have the rangefinder move on this helmet. I don't really care too much. I probably wouldn't display him with the rangefinder down, but it is a feature I do like to have on figures like this. But the helmet does fit on him really nicely. It doesn't look too oversized or anything like that. It looks very good. You also, of course, get his weapons. You get the tiny little pistol. Pretty simple sculpt. You use some paint, brown paint for the grip. You can hold it in either hand pretty good. And that should be no problem. So there you go. And then you can slot that in the holster. It's actually not the tightest fit in the holster. It kind of just sits in there, but it won't just fall out. It's in there good enough where it's not going to just fall out on you. He also comes with his rifle, which is a new sculpt. This part is made of a pretty pliable plastic, so you don't got to worry about that snapping off, which is good. There's some decent paint on here with the gray, a lighter silver, and the brown. Again, he holds that pretty well. This one's a little more finicky to get him to hold correctly. And I do find it's a little bit of a challenge to get him in a good aiming pose just because of the stock is pretty big on this thing. But he can hold that and it looks pretty good. And he also comes with 2 flame effects for the thrusters on the jetpack. So that's kind of cool. They're sculpted nicely and they have good translucent orange that kind of goes into a deeper orange at the ends. And you can just kind of push those in to the back there. Oops. That's a little irritating just because the thrusters are made of soft plastic so they like to move around, but you can't get them in there, and that looks good. Again, my only real complaint is that you don't get a display stand with this figure, and I find that 3 3/4 inch flight stands aren't the most common thing to find. Like, no real Star Wars figures come with those as far as I know, and you don't really see them with any other kind of releases. So I'm not entirely sure where I'd even get a 3 3/4 inch flight stand, and without that, the thruster effects are kind of pointless. So it is a cool feature. I do like effect parts, but yeah, again, there's not much you can do if you don't have a display base for it. So there is that to keep in mind. And then lastly, you do get 2 beaten up Stormtrooper helmets. They are 2 different sculpts, and they're sculpted and painted fairly well. Nothing too much to write home about. They do have ball joints, so you can actually put these on Stormtrooper figures that you have that are of the newer Vintage Collection molds to have them kind of beaten up and whatnot. These are kind of cool accessories, you know, nice little extras. You can kind of put them around his feet and, you know, or use them for dioramas or put them on your other Stormtrooper figures for whatever you want to do. But I feel like they could have excluded the Stormtrooper helmets honestly excluded these effect parts because I find like most people aren't going to be able to have the means to display them with these anyways, and just made this a standard release like this, and that would have been fine. But still, the extra accessories are cool. So before we end off here, I will do some pretty quick comparisons. Here he is with last year's Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. This one actually seems like he's just ever so slightly taller. But yeah, these are pretty cool. They definitely look, you know, similar, obviously. This one's a really nice figure. I do actually prefer this one, though. This one's a lot funner to pose with the new hip joints and everything. And all the accessories. I think this one just is a bit of a better action figure, but both really nice figures. Yeah, I really like these. And that's what they look like together. I'm not going to bother showing them off any other Boba Fett's at that scale. I will show them really quickly with the Deluxe Black Series book of Boba Fett from this year. And yeah, I still really like the Black Series figure. I just like these looks for Boba Fett, and this is still a fun figure. But this one's even less deserving of the Deluxe price point. He only came with every accessory he should have came with. He doesn't have he does actually have a removal missile, but it doesn't come with any effect parts or any extra pieces. He just comes with everything that he had to come with. I actually prefer the colors on this figure a lot better. This one's also accurate to Book of Boba Fett, whereas this one, while it is packaged as Book of Boba Fett, is actually his Mandalorian, how he looked when he repainted the armor in the Mandalorian, because of the different belt and the different cloth around him and whatnot, and the different colored boots. So obviously this one has that over that as well, and I do actually prefer the Book of Boba Fett look over this one by a little bit. I just like the comma look over the piece of cloth look. So yeah, I definitely think the Vintage Collection one's the better figure, for sure. The better executed figure, which is kind of crazy. Like I've said in a few other recent Vintage Collection reviews, that the Vintage Collection I think has been nailing it, and I think they have been beating out the Black Series in a lot of cases, and this one's no exception. So overall, even though this is an expensive figure, I think it is still really cool and worth getting. If you're a Boba Fett fan, if you like this look for Boba Fett, I would highly recommend picking this one up. If you're not too crazy about this look, or maybe you don't care so much if it's this look or the Morak look that this one is, then there is a standard release, or a non-deluxe Boba Fett coming out that is based on his Morak look specifically. So if you didn't want to spend out for the deluxe, maybe you could wait for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I do think this is probably one of the best Boba Fett, or I definitely think it's like the best 3 3/4 Boba Fett figure ever made, and it's definitely one of the best 3 3/4 figures that Hasbro has made for Star Wars thus far. It's the accumulation of all the new engineering and all the stuff that they've learned over the last few years and put into figures. So very cool, definitely recommend. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.